You're listening to Viking Radio, coming to you from Dream Street Studios at Del Mar College.
Hello, I'm your host, Dr. Natalie Chapa. Good morning, Coastal Bend. How's everybody doing this morning? Just heard from Mr. Larry Elizondo. Things are going great here in the city. On behalf of Del Mar College, I want to welcome our guest today. We have, to begin with, Miss Elena Rodriguez, Assistant Professor of Art here at Del Mar College. Welcome, Elena.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. So excited to talk about all the amazing things happening personally and professionally with art in your world. But we also have, from the Rockport Center for the Arts, Curator of Exhibitions, Miss Catey Arnold.
Hi. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Hi, Catey. Thanks so much for coming from Rockport. It is our service area as part of Del Mar College, and we do have a Rockport Center opening up soon on behalf of Del Mar College, so we're really excited about that. And Elena, you know Mike
Yes.
B here on the side, Mr. Mike Bratton joining us, and Robert Bettis producing along the way.
Welcome to Dream Street Studios.
Thank you.
That's literally our name.
That's literally our name, Dream Street Studios. You're here. You're in the dream.
That's fantastic.
Living
I
the
love
dream.
it.
So let's get started with you, Elena. Part of the reason that we wanted to bring you onto the show was you are a professor here at the college, so I want to talk a little bit about that, but then also talk about your artwork and where it's being exhibited and all the cool things that are happening this summer. So tell us a little bit about your classes and what you teach here at the college for anybody out there.
Sure. So I teach 3 classes here at the college. One is Painting 1 and eventually Painting 2, which is kind of my love as a painter. You know, I was obsessed with painting as a student. So like painting is kind of where I got started in my art career, is with painting. But I also teach graphic design and digital media. So I was a painting major in undergrad, but I also minored in film and media studies. So like making films, making videos has always been a huge part of my like artistic practice. And in fact, I look at any movie or film I see, I look at it as if it's a painting, and any painting I see, I look at it as if it's a film. So I kind of teach the traditional arts and a little bit of the digital arts as well, and it's kind of fun. I've been doing the digital media for 2 years now, and then painting and graphic design for a year, and I love it.
That's an interesting lens to look at the world through. That's very interesting. So you were talking about undergrad. Where'd you go to undergrad?
So I went to undergrad at Washington University in St. Louis.
Okay.
I grew up in Dallas.
Okay, so Texas girl.
Got a full ride to WashU. Loved it. It was great. I think I love St. Louis, and St. Louis reminds me a lot of Corpus Christi, which is how I actually ended up here. Because after undergrad, I moved to New York. I was there for 6 years, did my grad school, and then I wanted to live on the beach. But not like a cold, like New York beach.
Like hot, humid beach.
I need a hot, humid beach. So I found actually a job in Rockport. I moved down to Rockport, and then I've been here in this area for about 13 years now. And at Del Mar College, 3 years.
Okay.
So this is the end of my 3rd year, which
Very
is great.
nice. Well, glad that you're here. So you teach several different areas here at the college. And you said as a student, that's where art really kind of came to you. As a kid, were you into art or the idea of painting? What was it that kind of kick-started you?
I always was into art as a child. And in fact, I tell the story, but it's true. It sounds silly, but when I was like 3 or 4 years old, one of my classmates said, "Hey, you're a better drawer than everyone else because like you draw fingers on your hands and not just circles." I was like, "Great, I've got my identity sorted out. Don't have to worry about anything else the rest of my life.
I can draw fingers.
I know who I am." And so I became an artist. And I mean, I think it's always like, I mean, it's just the way so many times I look at the world and I think like, okay, how would I paint that? Like, how would I recreate that? Like, how would I translate the beauty that I see into paint? Because you'll see if you go, I paint a lot of weird things. I paint a lot of like random bushes. I paint like light poles. I paint like fences in like the industrial part of town that I think is really pretty. I don't know if everyone else does, but I like it.
I like that you described earlier your relation to painting and film, because I think that a lot of the work in Byways is cinematic, and it's not the main scene in the movie, but it's these moments of passing between one thing to another. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So, Catey, you're joining us again from Rockport. And so tell us what you do again as the exhibition curator?
Okay, so I'm the curator of exhibitions, and that involves selecting all the shows and the artists. At Rockport Center for the Arts, we have two main tradition shows in the summertime. So Elena's show is one of those. It's the Master Artist Tradition. It's celebrated every June, and this year we're going to have it up June through August. At the same time, we have a Rockport Legends show. So every
Okay.
year, a master artist is selected, and that tradition began with the Rockport Art Festival.
Okay.
Every July 4th, that's hosted every July 4th weekend.
And that's a big one. People from all over go to Rockport for that festival.
Totally. Visitors from all over and artists from all over. This year, usually we have 120 artist booths.
Oh, wow.
This year, we've added 20 more. There will be, or
So you're
22.
doubling.
There will be 142
Oh, wow.
booths. Yeah.
That is amazing. And I love it because there's all different types of different modalities of art that are on display to buy
Yes.
if you're shopping.
There's 8 different categories that the artist can apply under. So everything from mosaic, painting, glassworks, traditional sculpture, wood,
You name it.
drawing, printmaking,
Yeah.
everything.
And so this is happening now, specifically the art festival, right, is July 4th and 5th. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And this is at the Rockport Festival grounds?
Yes.
Okay. Laurel Street.
Yes.
Yes, for those of you familiar with Rockport. If not, it's 1500 East Laurel Street. And that's pretty much an all-day, all-weekend festival if you want to go shop, eat,
Right.
take advantage of all the art to buy.
It's open from 10 to 5 on Saturday and 10 to 5 on Sunday as well. There's also music and food trucks. And this year we're going to have a shuttle picking up people, visitors from the Art
nice.
Center.
Okay.
So there will be a shuttle route. Anyone who wants to just park at the Art Center, map to the Art Center, can do that.
Great.
And
So
all those art pieces you mentioned, they're going to be for sale.
Yes, all of the artists will be selling their work in individual booths, half of which are outdoors. This year, we're going to have an AC tent. So the other half of those booths are going to
Nice.
be in air condition.
And Elena, you'll be there?
No, I won't be at the art festival, but I will be at the big weekend. Always kicks off with an art auction the night before.
Okay.
So I'll be at the art auction, and actually my I painted a work of art specifically for that art auction.
Okay.
That's going to be like the final piece that's auctioned off. Like it's live auction style. So
Oh,
like
beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at the end
It's
of the
so
night, which I'm really excited and very nervous about.
You don't need
Yeah,
to be.
right? Because you're like, I hope people bid. And then
Right.
and then it's gonna get out of control. And
Yes.
then, yeah.
It will.
And where does the money go for that from the auction? Where does that go to?
It goes, all the money raised goes to the Art Center back into programming because
Perfect.
we're
Okay.
a nonprofit. So it's our
Yes.
biggest fundraiser of the year.
Okay, wonderful. Everybody, July 4th and 5th, if you have a chance to go to the Art Fest, please join the people of Rockport for that. So, Catey, are you a Rockport born and raised, or are you a transplant, as we like to call it?
A transplant.
Yeah,
I'm
where are you
Corpus
coming from?
Christi born and raised.
Okay, okay. And where'd you go to high school?
I went to King High School.
King High School, okay, King Mustang.
Yes. And after high school, I went to the University of Texas in Austin.
Hook 'em horns, so did I.
Amen.
Probably
Hook
around the
'em.
same time, joking. And so,
Totally.
Rob, it wasn't that funny.
I would have believed you until you said joking. I was like, yeah.
See, she's nice. So you went to Austin, and did you major in art?
I did. I majored in studio art
Mm-hmm.
with a focus on printmaking and sculpture, and installation sculpture. So that really informed me of how I was already looking at the world and objects in space and people in space and how they interact together. So installation sculpture really was transformative in college, and it made perfect sense that I would transition into gallery work afterwards.
Yeah. And so you're also an artist.
I am.
Yes. And so you just mentioned sculpture. Is that where you like to create in the sculpting space, or?
I like to create on canvas currently.
Okay.
But the way that I approach my artwork is very layered with sometimes objects.
Okay.
So that talks to printmaking also with layers of color. And I'm currently using different layers of translucent acrylic media.
Mm-hmm.
And also,
Mike, we are so out of our league on
I know
this one.
exactly what you're talking about.
To have these artist
Different
minds
clear
in
coats.
the space with me, I'm just like, this is amazing.
Yes, it's cool.
Because it is. It's the unique way you look at the world and you create art. It's invigorating.
And I was
So-
looking at your the website for the Rockport Center for the Arts, and I was looking at Elena's pieces.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is awesome. I would love to buy this.
Thank you.
You know what? I think we
They're-
need to take a lunch hour and go. We need to visit the Ace Hardware store in Rockport because I love that place.
oh yeah.
Seriously, right? It's a good Ace.
And
But
I notice,
we need to see the exhibit.
I notice, Elena, your name on here is RODZ.
Yeah, let's
Yes.
talk about that.
Okay. So I think when I was like 20 something, I started going, that's like my art name, right?
Okay.
And I think there's a few different reasons. I think the real reason is I already have 3 syllables in my first name. I don't need 3 syllables.
Elena.
I write
Yes, got it.
five letters, 3 syllables. It's kind of like doing a lot of work there. So I really wanted to shorten it to just Rods. And immediately when I made that decision, it was like, okay, get the URL, get the Instagram, get this handle, get that
Smart.
handle, get the Google, and like anytime there's a new kind of social media service, get the Rods. I do think I've met quite a few Rodriguez's who shorten it to Rods.
Really?
I have.
Cool.
Just because
Okay.
I think, it's a long name. It was real difficult to learn to spell. I learned to draw fingers before I could spell my last name.
Apparently, right. If you, yes.
And let's be honest, it makes it a bit cool. It really highlights that Z there. I mean, not many people have Z's in their name.
It's
So like it's
true.
really
Yeah.
it's really highlighting the Z and making it a little bit cooler. So that's
Yeah.
kind of why Elena Rods.
So going back to the exhibition, how many pieces are you going to have on display?
Sure. So I will have 28 works of art.
Amazing.
And I think in comparison to my last exhibitions, I started out being known here for painting real small. Like I painted some good 5x7 paintings. 8x10s was the largest I'd go. A few reasons for that. One being of necessity. When you're in New York City and you're moving around a lot,
Right.
the last thing you want to do is carry a
Space,
bunch
movement,
of
yes.
So I want to make something really small. Also, I've heard that it was told to me when I was in school that like large paintings like kind of overwhelm you, like they kind of like overpower you and like you know. But little paintings you tend to fall into, and I'm a
That's
huge
interesting.
like science fiction fantasy kind of like
Yeah.
books, and I listen to a lot of those audiobooks while I paint, and I really like the concept of creating these little worlds, these little
Yeah.
like windows in these
That if
little
you
like
could jump
realities.
into that window or
Right.
climb
Yeah.
into that window.
So a lot of my work, so this work is bigger. I think the biggest I've got is a 24 by 36, which in the painting world is still like medium size, but for me it's giant. And a lot of these works are paintings from around this area. In fact, they're all from around this area. You know, a lot from Corpus Christi, a lot from Rockport, some from out in Kingsville, Refugio, things like that. And I love that it's, especially when I take this work to like Houston or Dallas or Fort Worth, like giving these people little worlds, little
Yeah,
glimpses into
little
our
glimpse.
world. Because we've got this very identifiable, like beautiful landscape. I mean, I still remember driving here. I was at my grandma's house in Austin. I got the interview in Rockport and we drove down and I'm like, oh my God, I love how desolate things are. Like it's so like empty. But like coming from Brooklyn where like you can't see, like the
yes.
sky is very obscured, like all this.
You're
like,
surrounded.
right.
Yes.
Just to come down here and see this flatness and this like expansive landscape, like it was really beautiful. I still find it's really beautiful. And if you look at a lot of works in the show, a lot of them are, you know, I get my reference photo being a passenger in a car going 75 miles an hour. And I'm like, that's really pretty. And I like take a quick photo and such. And then, you know, having to interpret that into like what that becomes as a painting. So really kind of honoring our landscape and honoring our area down here.
Well, that's amazing to me because living here, I feel like I go to West Texas to feel expansiveness. Like,
Interesting.
you know, but it
Yeah.
is. It's all about perspective. We'll be right back.
This is where it all starts, where dreams take off and what's next becomes clear. This is Heritage Campus at Del Mar College, home to core classes in arts, sciences, and business. with upgraded facilities and faculty who provide a quality education that transfers with you wherever you're headed. This is a place of creativity, possibility, and success. A place to excel, a place to grow. This is where you belong. Learn more at dmcdreams.com.
This is Viking Radio.
And for our guests out there just joining us, we have Miss Catey Arnold from, she is actually with the Rockport Center for the Arts, curator of exhibitions. And also joining us is assistant professor of art here at Del Mar College and local South Texas artist, Miss Elena Rodriguez, or by her art name,
Elena Rods.
yeah, Elena Rods. And so having a great conversation about, I love, again, the way you've talked about how you see the world and how you're able to either incorporate that, right? Give us a small glimpse. But Catey, from your perspective, is how do you create it and showcase it,
Okay, yeah.
right? In a way that people are going to feel it,
Right.
and really understand
And
and
really
get
be
into
able
it.
to engage
Yes,
with.
to engage with it.
So about a year ago, Elena and I began talking about the content of the show. And you're known for your nightscapes, a lot of dark with an artificial light source.
Yes,
and there's
like this one right here. Yeah.
sometimes eerie, sometimes romantic, curious glow
Yeah.
coming from either the window of a house or the headlights of a car. And so we discussed doing some dusk scenes.
Okay.
And then she started painting these gorgeous, bright daylight, like height of noon, blue and green, side of the highway, through the passenger window.
Yeah.
And then we got into talking about, okay, what about dawn, dusk, night,
Yeah.
day? So that was something that I thought would really engage the viewer and keep them in the space and wanting to go, you could view it in a circular way. That's how we started thinking about it. And that was something that is something that I always try to do in conversation with the artist, is thinking about how can we get the
Yeah.
viewer to want to be there.
Y'all are a great creative duo.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that totally works. I'm like, okay, yes.
And it worked.
There's
The
an
body
art.
of work
There's
is
an art to
stunning.
presenting art.
There really is.
Absolutely. Again, that's engaging and draws somebody in that wants them to see more and to really look at it. So, man, I'm learning so much today.
Me too.
Well, and let's get back to the teaching aspect
Sure.
of your career. So when you have students taking your art classes, what's your kind of advice and mentorship? Because art can be very intimidating to create.
That it is very intimidating. I, especially when it comes to painting, I like to tell my students, like, you might make a bad painting, and that's okay. Like, you're not judged on whether your painting is successful or not, because even as I'm learning myself and I'm trying new techniques, you have to make the bad paintings to make the good paintings. So you just have to kind of be fearless, and it's okay. Like, it's okay. I've painted over so many paintings. In fact, one that just sold yesterday, like, I'm like, I remember what that looked like before I sanded it down and painted over it. And I had struggled with it so hard, and it was just like getting over with it. So I try to tell them to be fearless, because you know, over the course of this show, like, the first painting I did and the last painting I did, like, I have grown as an artist, and I can see it, and I can see my growth as an artist, but you have to just kind of do it. The other thing I like to remind my students is that art in any form, whether it's digital arts, graphic design, whether it's in digital media, whether in making films or painting, it's communication, right? So you shouldn't be afraid to get critiques on your work, because if you're, so I'm not a cook, but my husband is, right? And if he were ever making food for me, he's going to be like, hey, is this too spicy? Is this too
Right.
salty, right? And we're not hurt or we're not upset if someone's like, hey, that's a little spicy, that's a little salty or a little sweet. And art should be the same way, because you're trying to communicate something, and you're not asking, is this good or bad? You're asking, is this communicating the thing I want it to communicate? And I think what makes people intimidated by making art is that they just don't have the skill set. Like, learning how to draw, learning how to paint, and how the world functions visually is a skill set you have to learn. And I think a lot of people give up on making art because they don't, if they don't know how to draw something correctly, or they don't know. It's like speaking, how many
Right.
times do we try to learn another language and we give up because we
And you
can't
give
pronounce
up.
it right?
And it takes practice.
And it
Like
just
how
ta- and
sports
messing
take
up.
practice.
But
right.
yeah,
Yes.
so you're gonna make
Yeah.
a bad painting. You're gonna pronounce that foreign word wrong, but you have to keep going through it, and you got to keep trying, and you can't. You can't get upset when someone's like, "Hey, that's not quite the right way," or "I'm not understanding what you're trying to say."
That's really great advice because for myself, I think I always just assume when I see a beautiful work of art that yes, it's layered and yes, but I never think, oh, the artist really struggled
Right.
or redid it, or painted over pieces. In my mind, the artist just kind of created it, but it gives you permission just to be a little messy. Get in there.
Yeah, I think there's several paintings I've painted over and over again because I'm like, I didn't quite get it right the first time, didn't quite get it right the second time. And I, finally, I've been painting night scenes for 15 years, 16, 20 years. And I haven't been happy with them until the last 5 years. It's always been it's not quite right. It's not quite right. And then suddenly it's like, okay, I think I figured out how the visual language works.
I always tell, I'm going to say my artists because I work with so many artists. I just claim them as my babies,
Yeah,
my
they're
friends, my
mine.
children.
All of mine.
So I'm always telling, and we have membership. So those are our artists at Rockport. So I always tell them, you have to make the bad art to make the good art, because the way that I think that all of us, how we're presented art typically is in a gallery space, at a show. You're seeing the final product. You're not seeing the 12 hours that
Exactly.
went into
Yes.
deliberating these decisions
Yeah.
between this one, and then finally you kind of have to lose yourself in
And
the
just get
painting and
immersed in it.
totally.
You got to make that first pancake. It's never good.
The first pancake.
What? Exactly.
I've seen people in museums standing there. Years ago, I would see people standing in front of a painting, and they'll stand there forever. And I never understood, how long does it take to look at this painting? Now I understand that. Over the past several years, I'm to the point now where I can go look at a painting, and I can stare at it for hours and put myself in that painting. That's what I'm doing with this one. What is the name of this one?
So
Feel
I
it.
think the one you're showing, I think, is called Pass Me Right Now. And what's fun about that one is that is the third time I painted that house. It is around the corner, at Doddridge and Santa Fe, around the corner from where I live.
I know that house.
Yes. Well, it's not there anymore. I looked.
Right.
One day I realized, oh my God, that's where they tore it down to build a new house.
Oh, they tore it down. It was
They
on the
tore
corner.
it down. Yeah, it's right. It's right
It
on the
was
edge.
on the
That's how I hope people get the opportunity to see this painting specifically, Elena, because I can hear the crickets in this painting.
Thank you.
I'm swatting away mosquitoes in this painting, and I can tell this is right after a storm. It's the coolness that comes right after a major South Texas storm. And I'm just looking at this lady's painting. This is awesome.
Thank you. I do love. It's so funny because I've got great friends all over the country, right? And they see my work and they're like, "That's great," and then they come visit me for the first time and they're like, "Oh, I get it. That's Corpus. That's your area. You know." There's something very. I don't know what it is. I don't know what Corpus
It's very
looks like,
unique.
but it just.
Every
hits.
place is unique, right?
Right.
But I do have to say, I think it's so weird, but I love it. Driving down the beach or being near the beach, and then there's cactus at the
Yes.
same time.
Right.
You know you're in Texas when?
You're in Texas when, or you see deer in the sand dunes. It's just, again, it's such a unique landscape here that I think sometimes we take it for granted, and sometimes it takes somebody else coming in and saying, "This is amazing."
We have really good clouds. I didn't realize that until my friend from Brooklyn came and was like, surprised that we have great clouds. No one else, other places, but not a lot of places have our clouds.
Clouds are that you even notice them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That you even have the space to notice them. And I love that about the Bay. So I've noticed that every day the Bay is a different color.
It's a different color.
And it's different. Sometimes it's beautifully calm, right? You can see every little fish puddle up, or it's crazy waves crashing. And every day is just absolutely a new day and different. So
Yeah.
I agree with you. I cannot portray it in painting, but I love the people who can.
Thank you.
So what is up next for Rockport? You've got a lot going on these next few weeks with the exhibition and the festival. And then what else is coming up?
So the Master Artist shows are going to be up through August. We also have a Corpus Christi artist on view in
Okay.
the Wyatt Gallery, which is called the Sculpture Gallery. Jennifer Arnold.
Okay.
It is volume 6 of this body of work for her. It's called Coming Up for Air. So the sculptures are photography based. They look like houseplants. The children's tours we've been doing for summer camp, which goes on through the end of July also, the kids think they're made of glass, but it's really fun to tell the kids that they're photos and like, you know what a camera is. And anyways, so after Elena's show in the HEB gallery, we have a San Antonio artist, Dirta Weber.
Okay.
She is typically a weaver. She makes weavings on a loom. The show is going to be installation based. So there's one wall that will look like a quilt of these different weavings that are
Okay.
in technically towels is what she calls them. And they could be used for towels, from beach towel size to your whole body to tea towels for your kitchen. So
All different,
Oh
all
my
different
gosh.
types of artwork and exhibits.
she's weaving with silk in some of the work, and there's going to be these sculptural chairs in the center of the gallery. So that show's going to be really playful and end of summertime vibes, but in
So,
fabric.
gosh, lots to look forward to.
Yes.
And so, Elena, for you and your students, if students are interested in pursuing an art degree or just taking some classes right here just to kind of get going at the college, who is the advisor for in the art department? Do y'all have somebody that, or do you have our faculty who advise?
We all do advising. Just as long as you call Roseanne Ramsey, she will set you up with an advising appointment, and whichever faculty is available.
Do you happen to know Roseanne's, the main number?
It is 361-698-1216.
1216.
Awesome.
361-698-1216. If you're out there and you're thinking, oh, wow, this class might be for me or somebody else in your family or friends, give them a call.
And be Elena's student.
Be my student.
And you can always get started at delmar.edu. And I just want to add one thing, Natalie. We love us some Rockport at Delmar
do.
College.
We do.
And I would love for people to go and meet Elena Rods. And then the big event, Natalie.
The Rockport Festival, the Art Fest, on July 4th and 5th.
And a good way to get into the art festival is you can volunteer. We'll give you a free t-shirt and free weekend passes.
Awesome. So they would contact you, Catey?
So they'll go to our website.
Okay.
And on the events page, find Art Festival. There's a link to volunteer. And if you can't find that on the website,
that.
because there's a lot of info, you do see it on there. Good.
Wonderful.
And that's at rockportartcenter.com.
Correct.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Elena and Catey, for joining us today. We've learned so much about the art world, and we so appreciate you giving your talents to South Texas and the Coastal Bend. To our audience out there, we hope you had a great time with us this morning, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Viking Radio. This show is a production of Delmar College.